The number one most hated captain on this list will literally end friendships, and the number one most loved isn't who you think it is. I'm putting someone in the top spot that's gonna make half of you rage quit this video. I've analyzed thousands of fan polls, comment sections, and Reddit arguments to create the most scientifically accurate ranking of which captains make fans scream with love or pure hatred. And yes, I'm putting a universally beloved character in the most hated section, because I'm not here to make you comfortable. I'm here to tell you the truth about which captains actually deserve their reputation, and which ones are overrated frauds living on hype alone. If you think you know who's going to be number one on either list, you're wrong. Stick around, because this ranking is going to destroy everything you thought you knew about One Piece captains. Number 6 most hated, Alvida. Let's start with the obvious fraud. Pre-Devil Fruit Alvida was genuinely repulsive, not just physically but as a person. She terrorized innocent people and abused her own crew for the crime of existing near her. Her introduction showed us everything wrong with petty tyrants, who use power to compensate for their own insecurities. Then the Slip Fruit happened, and suddenly we're supposed to forget that she's a terrible person, because now she's conventionally attractive? That's not character development, that's a cheap cop-out that rewards awful behavior with a pretty makeover. Her obsession with being the most beautiful woman in the world is shallow, boring, and contributes nothing to the story beyond being Buggy's occasionally useful sidekick. Beauty doesn't erase a rotten personality. Number 5 most hated, Foxy. Foxy represents everything fans hate about filler-level storytelling, stretched into actual canon. His slow fruit should be terrifying in the right hands. But instead, we got a coward who uses it for elaborate pranks and rigged games, instead of actual piracy. The Davy Back fight arc dragged because Foxy himself is annoying. His laugh is grating. His crew's worship of him feels forced. And his entire philosophy revolves around cheating instead of earning victories through strength or strategy.
Or apples, whatever. On to the next event!
What makes Foxy especially hateable is that he wastes everyone's time. He's not threatening enough to be a real villain. He's not funny enough to be entertaining comic relief, and not interesting enough to deserve the screen time he gets. Number 4 most hated, Gecko Moria. Here's a captain who embodies everything One Piece stands against: giving up on your dreams and making others carry your burden. After losing his crew to Kaido, instead of getting stronger or finding a new path, Moria became a lazy coward who let zombies do his fighting. His Shadow Fruit should be one of the most terrifying abilities in the series, but Moria uses it to avoid personal growth entirely. Why train when you can steal someone else's shadow? Why build relationships when you can animate corpses who can't abandon you? Moria represents the opposite of what makes One Piece captains inspiring, while Luffy brings out the best in everyone around him. Moria literally steals people's shadows, their essence, to make himself stronger without doing any work. Comment right now if you think I'm being too harsh, because it's about to get way worse. Number 3 most hated, Arlong. Now we're getting into captains who are genuinely evil, not just annoying. Arlong perfectly represents systematic oppression, wrapped in the disguise of survival of the fittest. His treatment of Nami in Kokoyashi Village is psychological torture disguised as business. What makes Arlong especially despicable is his hypocrisy. He preaches fishman superiority while working with corrupt human marines, and exploiting the same racist system he claims to oppose. He's not fighting for fishman rights, he's perpetuating cycles of abuse. Manipulation of 8-year-old Nami is masterfully cruel. He convinced a grieving child that she could buy her family's freedom while never intending to honor the deal. That level of psychological manipulation against a traumatized child crosses every line. Number 2 most hated, Eustace Captain Kidd. Here's where we start getting controversial. because Kid has defenders who think being dark and edgy makes him compelling. It doesn't. Kid represents everything toxic about the rival archetype. He's violent, he's needlessly cruel to innocent people, and treats his own crew like disposable tools. What makes Kid particularly insufferable is how the story keeps trying to position him as Luffy's equal, when he's accomplished absolutely nothing meaningful. He loses every major fight, gets his arm cut off, and spends most of the New World getting humiliated by stronger opponents. There's a reason the fanbase calls him Useless Captain Mid, because that's exactly what he is. His magnetic powers should be fascinating, but Kid uses them in the most boring way possible, just throwing metal at people. Compare this to Law's surgical precision or Luffy's rubber creativity. Kid is proof that having a strong devil fruit means nothing without imagination or character depth. But here's the real reason Kid is number 2. He kills innocent people for fun. While Luffy liberates islands, Kid terrorizes them. That's not being an anti-hero. That's being a villain who the story pretends is worth rooting for. But if you think Kid being number 2 most hated is controversial, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm saving the most friendship-ending reveal for the very end of this video. So if you want to see which universally beloved captain I'm putting at number 1 most hated, you better stick around, because it's going to break the internet. Number 6 most loved. Boa Hancock. Hancock earns her spot not just for being the most beautiful woman in the world, but for representing the complex reality of trauma survivors who become leaders. Her hatred of men isn't just personality quirk. It's a realistic response to horrific childhood abuse by the Celestial Dragons. The Love fruit perfectly matches her character development. She uses an ability based on attraction and desire, but she's learning to distinguish between superficial lust and genuine emotional connection through her relationship with Luffy. What makes Hancock compelling is watching her slowly learn to trust again. Her protectiveness of Amazon Lily and her eventual willingness to risk everything for Luffy shows character growth that most villains turned allies never achieve. But if Hancock shows us healing from trauma, our next captain shows us something different entirely. Number 5 most loved. Jinbei. Now I know what you're thinking. Jinbei isn't currently a captain, so don't rush to the comments just yet. Yes, Jinbei isn't actively leading his own crew anymore, but as the former captain of the Sun Pirates and someone who has demonstrated exceptional leadership throughout the series, he embodies the true wisdom, sacrifice, and tactical brilliance that defines great captaincy. Jinbei represents the ideal of diplomacy backed by unshakable strength. As a former warlord who gave up his position to follow his principles, he shows what true honor looks like when facing impossible choices between duty and conscience.
痛くもねえ場所にいるくらいなら死を選ぶか。愚か者。Stay or life!
魂が出てこねえ。嘘だろ。1ミリもママにビビってねえんだ。
未来の海賊王のクルーになろうちゅう男が4カごときに臆しておられるか。
His fishman karate demonstrates that technique and discipline can rival raw devil fruit power. Jinbei's fighting style is beautiful to watch because every movement has purpose and precision, reflecting his careful approach to leadership in life. What elevates Jinbei above other strong leaders is his role as the crew's wisdom and emotional anchor. From Impel Down to Marineford to Fishman Island, he's consistently shown the kind of selfless decision-making and protective instincts that make someone a natural-born captain. He provides the steady presence that balances Luffy's chaos, Zoro's intensity, and Sanji's passion. Speaking of wisdom and restraint, let's talk about someone who's mastered both. Number 4 most loved, red-haired Shanks. Shanks represents the perfect balance of overwhelming power and genuine humility. As one of the 4 emperors, he can destroy most opponents instantly, yet he consistently chooses diplomacy and only fights when absolutely necessary to protect others. His sacrifice of his arm to save young Luffy established him as someone who values potential and innocence over his own physical abilities.
Usero.
おい泣くなよ男だろ
だよジャングル腕が
安いもんだ腕の一本ぐらい無事でよかった
That single moment shaped Luffy's entire understanding of what it means to be a true leader, someone who protects others regardless of personal cost. What makes Shanks beloved is his ability to end conflicts through presence alone. When he arrived at Marineford, both Marines and Whitebeard pirates immediately stopped fighting. That's not just power, that's the respect earned by someone who uses strength to prevent suffering rather than cause it. Shanks' crew loyalty is legendary. His officers would follow him into hell, not because they fear him, but because they genuinely believe in his vision of what piracy should represent: freedom, adventure, and protecting the innocent from those who would abuse power. Shanks may prevent wars, but our next captain fought the biggest one of all. Number 3 most loved, Edward Whitebeard Newgate. Whitebeard embodies the ideal of family above everything else. His crew wasn't bound by fear or ambition, but by genuine love and mutual respect. He treated his subordinates as sons and daughters, creating the kind of found family that defines the best of One Piece. His final stand at Marineford is legendary, not just for its epic scale, but for what it represented. Despite being old, sick, and outnumbered, he fought the entire world government to save one son. His refusal to retreat even after taking hundreds of wounds showed what true parental love looks like. The Gura Gura fruit's world-shaking power perfectly matched his larger-than-life presence. When Whitebeard fought, the entire world felt it. His declaration that One Piece is real gave hope to an entire generation and reshaped global politics with his final breath.
興味はねえが、あの宝を誰かが見つけたとき、世界はひっくり返るのさ。ワンピースは実在する。
Whitebeard created a family, but our number 2 creates something even more powerful. Number 2 most loved, Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy claims the number 2 spot because he represents everything we love about leadership through inspiration rather than intimidation. He doesn't recruit crew members. He saves them from their darkest moments and gives them reasons to believe in themselves again. His Gum Gum Fruit abilities showcase the power of creativity and determination over raw strength. Every new gear technique feels earned through training and necessity, rather than convenient power-ups. His fighting style perfectly reflects his personality: flexible, unpredictable, and never giving up. What makes Luffy special is his ability to see the best in people and inspire them to exceed their own expectations. He turns enemies into allies not through manipulation, but by showing them what freedom actually looks like. Luffy's dream about being Pirate King isn't about power or treasure. It's about being free to help anyone who needs it.
宝がどこにあるかなんて聞きたくねえ。ここでおっさんから何か教えてもらうんなら俺は海賊をやめる。つまんねえ冒険なら俺は死ねえ。
敵も強い。君にこの強固な海を支配できるか。
支配なんかしねえよ。この海で一番自由なやつが海賊王だ。
Every arc shows him liberating people from tyranny, because he can't stand seeing others suffer. But if you think Luffy at number 2 is controversial, You're not ready for what's coming next, because my number one most hated captain is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about heroism in One Piece. Number one most loved, Trafalgar D. Water Law. Law takes the number one spot because he represents the perfect evolution of what a One Piece captain can become, when tactical brilliance meets emotional depth and genuine character development. Law's Ope Ope fruit is the most strategically versatile ability in the series. Every fight he's in becomes a chess match where positioning, timing, and creativity matter more than raw power. Look at his fight against Virgo. He strategically damaged the Sad Room while fighting, accomplishing his mission and defeating his opponent. That's tactical brilliance. He wins through intelligence and preparation, making him consistently compelling to watch. But what elevates Law to number one is his character journey. From isolated loner to someone who genuinely cares about his alliance with the Straw Hats. His backstory with Corazon adds incredible emotional weight to everything he does. He's fighting not just for revenge, but to honor someone who died believing in his goodness. The D in his name creates fascinating parallels with Luffy, while maintaining his unique identity. Where Luffy leads through inspiration, Law leads through strategy. Where Luffy acts on instinct, Law plans every move. They represent complementary approaches to achieving the same goal: freedom for everyone they care about. Law's willingness to sacrifice everything in his alliance with Luffy shows character growth that most captains never achieve. He went from trusting no one to betting his entire life's plan on a rubber boy's chaotic optimism. His surgical precision in both combat and leadership reflects someone who understands that every decision has life or death consequences. Law doesn't waste movements, words, or opportunities, because he learned early that carelessness kills the people you love. Now, for the moment that's going to break the internet. Number one most hated, Porcus D. Ace. Yes, I'm putting Ace at number one most hated, and before you start typing death threats in the comments, hear me out. Ace is the most overrated character in One Piece history, and his death doesn't make him a good captain. It makes him a catastrophically bad one who got everyone killed through pure stubbornness. Ace's fatal flaw isn't heroic, it's selfish. When Akainu insulted Whitebeard, Ace had two choices: ignore the obvious bait and escape with his family's lives intact, or throw a tantrum that would get himself and potentially his father killed. He chose the tantrum, and yes, I know Ace fans will say he was defending Whitebeard's honor, but true honor means prioritizing your family's lives over your ego.
思えば悲しい男じゃのう。親父とゴロつきどもに慕われて家族まがいの茶番劇で海にのさばりやめろ。王にはなれず何も得ず、しまいには口車に乗った息子という名のバカに刺され。やめろ。乗るなエース、戻れ。
Whitebeard himself was escaping successfully until Ace stopped to pick a fight. Think about this logically. Ace's inability to walk away from an insult caused Whitebeard's death, traumatized Luffy for years, and destroyed the Whitebeard pirates as a functioning crew. Hundreds of people died because their brother couldn't control his temper for 30 seconds. As a captain of the Spade Pirates, Ace was reckless and impulsive, leading his crew into dangerous situations they weren't prepared for. His decision to hunt Blackbeard directly led to his capture, and everything that followed. The Flame fruit is visually spectacular, but Ace never showed the tactical brilliance or leadership skills that would justify his reputation. He was carried by his Devil Fruit power and his connection to Roger and Whitebeard, not any personal achievements. Ace represents the difference between dying for something meaningful and dying because you're too proud to make smart decisions. His death was preventable, unnecessary, and caused by his own character flaws. These rankings aren't just about power levels or popularity contests. They're about which captains embody the themes that make One Piece special versus which ones represent everything the series stands for. The most hated captains either waste their potential, hurt innocent people for selfish reasons, or fundamentally misunderstand what strength actually means. The most loved captains show us different paths to the same destination, using your power to protect the people and dreams that matter most. Law takes the #1 spot because he represents the perfect synthesis of tactical brilliance, emotional depth, and character growth that defines the best of One Piece. He's proof that you can be calculating and strategic, while still fighting for love and family. And yes, Ace being #1 most hated is going to make people angry, but sometimes the truth hurts. Being beloved doesn't make you a good captain if your decisions get everyone killed. Now let the comment wars begin, because I know half of you are furious about these rankings, and honestly, that means I did my job right. What do you think? Did I completely destroy your faith in my opinions, or am I the only one brave enough to tell the truth about which captains actually deserve their reputations? Let me know in the comments which ranking made you the angriest. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more videos that will completely ruin your day with controversial opinions, backed by actual analysis. Until next time, remember that the best captains aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who learn from them and use their strength to lift others up instead of tearing them down.